Hello friends, I am Asad Kumar Sahu. Welcome to the fourth session of Financing the Value Chain Management. In this session, we will be discussing about design and implementation of agricultural value chain finance. So when a development organization design or implement any development project, they face various challenges. There are multiple development priorities, concerns of government, financial institutions, and beneficiaries. The other issues are the issues of sustainability, income, employment generation, and profit. So, in order to implement a successful development projects, few points should be kept in the mind, and those are the development goals should be clear. Then use a development approach, identify initiatives with a strong business case, acquire knowledge about the value chain before considering the financial intervention. Consider the non-financial alternatives available. Avoid crowding out the private sector and other ongoing initiatives with grants. Use a stepwise approach. Create conditions for synergy between grant and debt finance. Use agricultural value chain finance to build a strengthen actors' creditworthiness. We will be discussing each of the point in details. So first, the development goals should be clear. Identify all the stakeholders or actors in the value chain, identify their developmental needs, and have clarity on which of the developmental needs has to be addressed. Once this is done, the target group, region, sectors can be easily identified and specified. Then use a development approach. Always seek to maximize returns to society as a whole and to the priority target groups and regions in particular. Thus, important consideration in designing value chain and value chain finance intervention includes governance, power relationships among the actors in the chain, control and sustainability of the chain, and the main beneficiaries of the intervention. A targeted effort is always needed to include the smallholder producers and the poor households in an integrated value chain. Then the third is identify initiatives with a strong business case. The underlying industry sector must be competitive if interventions are to be sustainable. Within a competitive sector or subsector, the most competitive value chain must be identified. Avoid those interventions where the prospect of long-term sustainability cannot be demonstrated. Then the fourth is acquire knowledge about the value chain. Uh, Designing effective interventions requires an appreciation of the structure and the dynamics of the target value chain. So always ensure that your targeted group and the group dynamics should be analyzed thoroughly. Then always make sure that the value chain analysis is conducted and that the study involves an analysis of value added potential in the chain. This will help to find out whether the primary producers can benefit from from organizing the value chain more efficiently, and whether the cost of chain organization and financial services can be recovered from the product margins. First, conduct a segmentation analysis to assess how the labor market is segmented throughout the value chain. Then consider the factors and characteristics that influence the access of men and women to productive resources and their ability to deploy these resources. Then we will be discussing about why it is important to consider the non-financial alternatives before financial intervention. Financial institutions should consider providing direct financial support to chain actors only in the absence of other alternatives. Possible alternatives to direct financial support includes brokering contracts with microfinance institutions and other financial institutions, then holding workshops, uh, bringing stakeholders together to investigate whether the solution can be found within the ordinary business relationship or not, then providing them with the technical assistance to the producer organization or the lead actors in the value chain, and to help them to meet the requirements of viable sustainable chain operations. Then facilitations of linkages with exporters that will demonstrate the availability of well-established market outlets to the financer and provide them with sufficient value-added potential at the local level only. Then, then the next point is avoid avoid crowding out the private sector and other ongoing initiatives with grants. In a smaller vein, donors should be very careful to avoid disrupting financial markets through grant-funded interventions. Donors should finance only the gaps, not the whole process, and the finance should be temporary, or as a startup measure only, or to initiate any activity. The donor agency should not use this grant to fund the activities that are already financed through debt financing. Subsidies should be limited to parties and situations that are not currently supported by existing market actors, and where prospect of sustainable long-term value chain finance look promising. Then the next point is always use a stepwise approach. Grant finance may be used in the startup phase to fund the development of the value chain activities, but thereafter, the value chain financing must move towards a sustainable form of local debt financing. Ongoing services to chain actors must be paid out of revenue from the value added within the chain if they are to be sustainable. The project should plan for the transition from donor support to commercially supported activity with defined milestones and clear timeline. Then the next point is create conditions for synergy between grant and debt finance. Consult local financial institutions early in the chain development process to ensure that the program invests in the promising value chain and subsectors, and with partners that the Society of Financial Services Professionals recognize as credit worthy. What is the meaning of AFSP? It stands for Society of Financial Service Professional. It is a national network of credentialed professionals working in diverse financial disciplines. When financing a project, we should always approach them and seek their recommendations. Then efforts should be made to involve those professionals in the value chain and the value chain financing development strategy. Local financial delivery is the best path to continuity. Always try to develop a process to evolve towards local financing. This offers an exit route for the donors of grant programs, and is the best guarantee of substantial social and economic returns. Use agricultural value chain finance to build or strengthen actors' creditworthiness. With its linkages and relationships among value chain participants, agricultural value chain finance can contribute to participants' creditworthiness and therefore support the development goals of increasing financial access and inclusiveness. It may start with embedded finance, enabling actors to develop a track record of financial responsibility and competitiveness, which in turn opens up the opportunity for external financing also. Farmers financing by a processing firm may be a very good solution in a situation where no external financing is available. However, financing may be better when separated and left out to specialized financial institutions. Hence, it is very important to recognize the benefits and limits of embedded finance as well as the potential evaluation of such arrangement over time. So now let's discuss about the institutional framework of agricultural value chain finance in India. Here the RBI, that is the Reserve Bank of India, and the NABARD, that is the National Bank for Agricultural and Rural Development, are the two apex bodies. RBI directly finance NABARD, scheduled commercial banks and regional rural banks. NABARD also finances scheduled commercial banks, cooperative institutions, regional rural banks. Then under cooperative institutions there are two types of credit structure. First one is long term credit structure and the second one is short term credit structure. The long term credit structure is taken care by state cooperative, agriculture and rural development banks and primary cooperative, agriculture and rural development banks. And the short term credit structure is taken care by state cooperative banks, district central cooperative banks and primary agricultural credit societies. Then we will be discussing about some key challenges that a development institute or a financial institute comes across when financing a agricultural value chain. Those are the seasonality and varying gestation periods. The second is profitability of agricultural enterprises is significantly impacted by the external factors, and the third one is the disproportionate government interventions. We will discuss it one by one. So first we will discuss about seasonality and varying gestation period. Seasonality and varying gestation period of business activities affects most rural economic activities in India. This often leads to slow rotation of the invested capital and gets reflected in the cash flow of rural entrepreneurs. This is very true for both farming as well as other related activities like agro processing, input supply and service provision. Credit with longer maturity period and erratic repayment schedules pose a risk and present additional challenges to liquidity management. And the second we will be discussing about profitability of agricultural enterprises is significantly impacted by the external factors. As we know, unlike any other sector, the profitability of agricultural enterprises is significantly affected by external factors like climate change, major pest attack, or any disease outbreaks among the crops, or the prices of the inputs or outputs always varies, and these are largely beyond the control of the farmer. The farmer also face the unannounced risk of sudden illness or death in his or her family, which he or she has to address even at the cost of starving his own enterprise. And then third, disproportionate government intervention. As you know, 70% of the population are still engaged in agricultural activities in our country. So this becomes a high politically sensitive sector and always prone to disproportionate government intervention. Over the years, there has been reduction in government intervention due to rules like fixing lending quotas, mandating interest rate ceilings, etc. But the government continued to intervene on an ad hoc basis. Uh, they always use this sector for their political propaganda. Sometimes there is a sudden announcement during the voting period or the election period, like loan waivers, preferential lending programs, or any rescheduling due to national calamities. So these activities of the government enhance the sense of uncertainty for the financial institution and lead to weakening of the repayment culture. In the next session, we will be discussing about financing agricultural value chains in the digital age. Till then, thank you and bye bye.